Hi, welcome back to Dad Knows. So, the last few episodes we've been talking a lot about slavery, slaves' rights, leading up to the Civil War, then the Civil War itself, in the conclusion of the Civil War. So, we're still not quite done with that. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that happened immediately after the Civil War, and one of those, most importantly, is the 14th Amendment. So, the 14th Amendment paved the way for a lot of the civil rights legislation that would happen over the next really 140 years of America. So, really big deal. So we're talking about that today. Let me bring in Congressman Thaddeus Stevens from 1868. We're going to bring him in and see what he has to say about this 14th Amendment. We're going to get to the bottom of it. So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring him in. So, get the timer fired up, and here we go. Hey, Thaddeus Stevens.
Louisiana and South Carolina just ratified the 14th Amendment.
Oh, that explains your happy mood. Okay, so they just ratified the 14th Amendment.
We have majority.
So for an amendment to get ratified, amendment of the Constitution, 2/3 of the states have to actually ratify it. Once 2/3 have done it, it's now official. So that makes it official. So you're July 9th, 1868. This is officially. You're gonna live a long time knowing that things have been, that the 14th Amendment has passed and everything's good. Okay, so let's talk about this 14th Amendment. The first major clause it starts off with is all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, pretty wordy, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So what is that? What are you talking about? What does that mean?
They now have legal rights to do whatever they want.
Okay, but you had just freed them, with the 13th Amendment, 2 years before. The 13th Amendment came and they were free. So they were free. What's the big deal?
Well, some of the states were trying to take away their rights or try to
and pass laws.
Yes.
Okay. What about did they have legal standing?
No.
No. Okay. So yes.
Dred Scott decision.
Yeah. So the Dred Scott decision in 1857 had said famously that slaves and former slaves had no legal. They couldn't even. That was part of the reason that the case was thrown out, was because they're they can't make a case in the first place because they have no legal rights. Correct? All right. So, and then you guys are trying to make sure further provisions of this were no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So you were trying to say there, you were trying to keep these states from going back. Do you think those southern states were going to go back and try to change stuff? They were bad, right?
Bad.
So you were a northerner. You're from Pennsylvania? Okay.
Vermont, actually.
Well, you're born in Vermont. Right. So born in Vermont, but Pennsylvania. So you just kind of had it in for the southern states?
Yeah, they kind of left the Union, and President Johnson was just being too soft on them.
Too soft.
They need to face the consequences. I tried to impeach him, but they didn't like it.
The Senate didn't pass it, but you got him. You did get him impeached, but the Senate didn't, prosecute. Okay. So, and he was just too soft on them. Yeah. All right. Well, so you'll be glad to know. I'm from the future. If you haven't figured that out, this law does form the backbone of just many legal cases. It does take a while for some of it to really get going, but many of the society that we live in now has been sort of shaped by what you did. So I think you'll be glad with that. So anyway, I'm going to send you back. I know you got a big party to go to or some celebration stuff to celebrate this. It's official now, big time, 14th Amendment. Woohoo! So I'm going to send you back. You ready?
Yes.
Go on back. All right. Well, that was Thaddeus Stevens. As we said, he was the main author of the 14th Amendment. Big crusader for, just sort of, he was involved heavily in Reconstruction and really did have some views that, and tried to get some things done that were really difficult for the South as far as Reconstruction goes. So his legacy is viewed in the North very positively. In the South, not so much, but I think everybody agrees that the 14th Amendment was a great thing. So, we'll come back. We're going to have a quick word from our sponsor, then we'll come back and do a quick wrap-up. Do you have wayward and rebellious states that you're trying to welcome back into your union, but at the same time you want to make sure they get what's coming to them?
Yeah!
Then come on down to Reconstruction Junction. That's right. At Reconstruction Junction, we can handle all of your punitive needs.
Get 'em!
We can make sure we have military governors in place that kind of run things with a heavy hand.
Yeah, control 'em!
We can make sure that they have to pay off all these crazy debts with no help from the federal government.
Yes!
That's right. And we can even just, bring Northerners down to run their stuff and get involved in all their things and make sure that they don't really have any ability to govern their own affairs.
Awesome!
All right, that sounds good. If that sounds good to you, come on down to Thaddeus Stevens Reconstruction Junction. All right, welcome back into Dad Knows, and thank you again to our sponsor, Thaddeus Stevens Reconstruction Junction. I'm also told that you get a free carpet bag with any purchase. So, in all seriousness, the Civil War, slavery, and the Reconstruction that came after it were very tumultuous times in our country, and necessary things that had to happen. But there's even now, 150 years later, there's still some bitterness in the South about how Reconstruction was handled. But at the same time, they did secede from the Union and start a civil war. So that's a challenge that we just kind of have to deal with down here. So anyway, what I will say about the 14th Amendment is the 14th Amendment paved the way for many, just basically all of the civil rights legislation that happened. One from the women getting the right to vote. Anti-segregation laws that happened, basically everything that happened in the 1960s, that was all based on the 14th Amendment. So the right for black people to vote, people of all races to vote, the right for no longer separate but equal, everything had to be together, the same privileges for everyone. So 14th Amendment, hugely important to the development of our nation. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, like it, share it with your friends. If you didn't like it, well, I'm sorry.